Alright, so this is my review for the second season of Doom Patrol. It's based on the DC comic books. This was originally on DC Universe app. This is now, with all their stuff, is moving to HBO Max. Which is not really easy to get a hold of this thing. I went through a whole thing with it. I did a review on the first one, and it was back when my quality was really bad, and I wasn't really familiar with, comfortable with, with the camera. So it's kind of cringy, it's bad. So it's kind of awesome that I'm doing this with whatever. So this is a superhero, but anti-superhero, and it's a dark comedy that it's so out there and weird, and that's why a lot of people love it. It's so out of the norm. And there's definitely a lot of what you expect from the first one, a lot of this randomness and weird, and in the first one they had pop culture slams and stuff about, cliche of kids today, and they had a little bit of, like, one part in there of that. There was a whole bunch of it in here compared to the first one, which, kind of does a little bit suck. It was more seriousness to it. I wouldn't say more drama, but it was definitely had some funny parts in there. A lot of funny parts. It didn't really have a full-on story to it where it kept going, but it didn't stop still. And what you get with this TV show is you always get, like I said, random and weird stuff, right? But you also get these musicals that are kind of representative of 80s and 70s stuff, and that kind of how they do kind of like shorts of like flashback kind of shorts of 80s and 60s and 70s TV shows and stuff, stuff like that. And there's a whole lot of sexual stuff in here, and this is why this stuff is better than what's on the CW show. Now, don't get me wrong, I like the show, but it's a cable show, so you don't get anywhere near as this rated R stuff. And this is definitely not for kids. Far out. Tons of nudity, and there's way more nudity in here. So it's obviously you expect a whole bunch of this weird kind of culture stuff, right? There's this one episode that I was taken aback so much because it was so just bizarre and weird from beginning to end. It kind of had a sexual version of Ghostbusters, and it was just so weird and uncomfortable. And I loved it. Just like the first one. I love the series. There is a town called Danny. It's a magical town, and it's where homosexuals and gay community. I don't know if that's politically correct or whatnot, or just people that are considered weird and odd by us. By standards, even still today. And they don't fit in. And so there's this transsexual who's played by Alan Winco. And now I don't know if in real life, I couldn't find anything if he's really a transgender or what. From a look of it, how he was named as he and how they're describing it, I'm guessing is. But he's known on Broadway and stuff. I don't remember what the thing is called. But he plays a transgender woman, Miria. And they tell the story in the first one. And, I actually really love her character. And the reason why is she always brings this kind of partiness and upbeatness to it, and it's like it really adds to the story, makes you feel more happy. And then she does this more serious part in here, where I don't know if it's the same person in the first one, but she talks to someone that is this weird, and she gives this really motivating, like full-on true philosophical speech of acceptance and how to make acceptance of yourself. The other characters in here are Dane Grisho, who plays Crazy Jane. Crazy Jane has a split personality who live in this underground in their brain, has different characters and stuff, and they're supposed to protect this little girl who's the actual person of the body. But they represent stuff, and Crazy Jane is the head out of all of them. And so she plays like 6 or 7 different personalities, from little kids to kind of dramatic and whatnot. I am flat out still impressed of how good she is as an actress, how good and accurate she really does her roles on each one, and she goes from one to another like real quick. I was definitely blown away once again, and I completely forgot because I haven't seen this show since the beginning of last year, maybe the year before. Probably last year beginning. She has definitely changed since the first one. In her first one, she has a story arc. This one, she has a story arc of where she's supposed to be in the underground. So, but she's already, by this movie, already more from a goth kind of hateful person. I know, kind of grumpy, I wouldn't say hateful, but just hating at the world and expanded from the world. But she definitely goes on this journey of further of what it is. Out of all the characters, her character is the most with the difference of storyline that is for the better of emotion. April Blowdy, and I can't pronounce her freaking name. She plays Elastigirl. She's this ex-star, and she's just full of herself, and she is something that didn't really change in this, and I thought it did. She was more sympathetic in the beginning. She plays this a dick, and I don't want to say what the original word is, but I'm not going to say it. It starts with a B. It rhymes with beach. She was doing good, and then she just went back to being one of those. I was not happy about that. I didn't really like her character in the first one. I was hoping to like her in this one. I still don't. The famous actor Matt Boomer, who next to Brendan Fraser is the huge one, plays Larry Traynor, a gay mummy ex kind of thing, and he has a past that bad with kids, bad parents. And so from the first one, you go through his changes of reality of trying to make things right. So I thought we were done with that. I know it's a second season, but I thought we were done with that. Or at least got it pretty far. No. So they keep doing that, and he still gets the shit luck in life. Everything goes still bad for him. He talks to a character in here that comes in here. Her name is Moscow. Crap, I didn't write her down. But I have her name. I never heard of her. She's a character that I wish they would have. I really liked from her part to stay in there. So they kept what they do is this thing that I don't like is they'll have like recurring characters, but they don't have main characters adding to it. There's characters that you think are going to stay through the whole, like just with the team, and they don't. She's one of them, and I really liked her character for the episode that she was in. Another character like Larry Traynor that really didn't have much of a story arc and kept getting the shit luck in life, and that was more on his fault because he kept screwing up. And that's played by Brendan Fraser, who plays Robert Mann, aka Cliff. In the first one, they focused him as the main character. In this one, they focused on a little girl who's the daughter. You find out in this first one about Chief, who is played by, oh, I think he was a Bond. Timothy Dalton. You know, his character also, he wasn't really good in the first one. I really liked his acting and his character to a point towards the end. In this one, he was trying to go the way of making himself better as a person to help the people he wronged. And then he turned back into a selfish dick and kind of a crybaby. And I don't really like his character in this and the way he went with it. You know, back to Brendan Fraser's character, he's still that dumb, not bright, kind of full of himself dick. And, you know, there's a part in there where it looked like a couple parts in there looked like he was going to change. No. It just kept going back. And it's just like there was no real development from the first one. There was also a character I do love also that is a recurring character, but not a main. He is played by Mark Shepard, and he plays Kipling, aka the Drunk Wizard. And he is always really great and smart ass and funny. He wasn't as much in this one as he was in the first one, which was disappointing to me. I really liked the character. I still liked him. However, the main person that I definitely came to love in the first one was the antagonist. And it was played by Alan Tudyk, who plays Mr. Nobody. And he was really funny in the first one. He was almost in every episode. He was a narrator. He was a smart ass. You know, he was this kind of this comedic relief. And he was a crazy guy. And there was even a part in there where, because he breaks the fourth wall a lot, kind of like Deadpool. There was this one part I really loved, is that the whole, like this one scene was this him talking to the screen, wearing a DC cap and a Doom Patrol of the show t-shirt, and he had a poster, and he had a cup and all that, just promoting the TV show and DC in general. And that was like my favorite part of him. He was not in this. He was not in this at all, and that was a big disappointment to me. They had a little bit of shout outs to him, but he didn't say it. And there's like a part where, because they kind of make fun of stuff they shove in there and kind of make fun of stuff like you kind of do with adult DC comics. So I have to look. I don't know. Apparently it sounded like he's doing a voiceover in a TV show, and I think I heard something about it, but I don't know what it is. But I wasn't really concerned about looking into it. But yeah, that was a big disappointment. Look, it is a kind of a hard TV show to judge. It is definitely a wild and out, just bizarre, just over crazy comedy, dark comedy, a lot of crazy stuff. It's something way different than you normally get, and I actually definitely loved it. I don't know if it's really, fully to the expectations of comic books, of people who fans of the stuff. It had a very interesting story, but it was mainly based on how crazy and comical it is. The CGI was great. The camera that was used was definitely high tech, and they kind of added a dark kind of punk tint to it, and has a punk slash kind of 50s, 60s vibe to the theme to the whole story, the show. I don't remember what I gave it. I'm pretty sure I gave it a 5, and back then for the season 1, and I'm pretty sure a lot of my stuff was, not really thought through. So with this season, I wouldn't say it's better than the first one. It definitely has some issues with it, but I must really loved it nonetheless. And I would give this 4.5 out of 5 stars. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the show. Did you like it? Did you, you know, I mean, what did you think of it? I would definitely suggest you give it a try. Something different than what normally you get with DC shows. But yeah, I loved it, and that is my probably long review. I do apologize for that, and everyone have a good day, and Skol.